People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back again. As always, I'm greatly appreciated for you guys tuning into these videos. Without further ado, let's go ahead and speak on today's topic. So, this comes in today, reading from CNN. Says here, prosecutor says race was a factor in the case of a white man accused of shooting a black 16-year-old who went to the wrong house to pick up his brothers. Of course, as you guys may be familiar with this story, of course, it's made its waves through mainstream media. As always, of course, always an unfortunate event where a young life is harmed or put in danger. Luckily, this kid is, so I use his name. So Ralph Yarl, of course, it's been reported that he's back at home recovering from his injuries, which is, of course, good news to hear. Situations where it doesn't always end up like that, right? So of course, definitely appreciative of this one. When this story first came in, of course, I always feel a certain way when there's any killing of anybody, especially in the black community, especially of a young age, especially, it's like it's a repetitive storyline, right? I feel like, so I kind of, when this news first broke, kind of waited to understand a little bit more of what was going on, and understanding the severity. Of course, not to say that any one situation is more severe than the other, but kind of waiting for things to kind of just let in the dust settle a little bit on this one. So as recent as 10, of course, p.m. this evening, I don't want to timestamp myself, but nonetheless, the homeowner, of course, is going to be facing charges. Gentleman by the name of Andrew Lester. They are, of course, indeed saying that race was indeed a factor in the happenings of this. Basically, yeah, man, it's another situation. Unfortunate situation, of course, of, again, what do we chalk this up to? Racial tension, of course. Gun control, is it? What? Wrong place, wrong time. What do we chalk this one up to, man? And how do we find a solution for such happenings? This one is just unfortunate, man, because it's just like, all right, what can we say is like, all right, how do we prevent this? What's the preventative maintenance on situations like this is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is there preventative maintenance? Is this something that's just always going to be? Because after a while, man, the stories just kind of all sound the same, right? They all sound up. We know the protagonist, we know the antagonist in the story. Not to make light of it, but a lot of these situations kind of follow through a step-by-step guide of what happens, what's the result. We scream, we yell, some people protest a little bit, and it's back to usual. I'm thinking, like, what do we have to do to break the cycle? What has to take place for the cycle to break? Is what I'm thinking. Because after a while, it's just like, what are we expecting to see different if we're not trying to implement different solutions? Like, how is this going to change if we're not coming up with, the solutions that can maybe, like, all right, we haven't tried this before. Let's try this to see if that's, I don't know, man. But of course, a lot of discourse around this one here, man. It's unfortunate because it's like, all right, bro, I don't know. I'm trying to get to the point of just like, what's the solution? It's a recurring problem, but what's the solution? But yeah, diving in a little bit, of course, they say that, Ralph had to knock on a few neighbors' doors, maybe 2-3 neighbors' doors by the time they let him in. And even by the time they let him in, it was said that, he was told to lay down with his hands in the air on his stomach, whatever the case is, before they can feel safe enough to. And maybe that just kind of speaks to the times that we're in. I feel like we're all, which of course I would encourage. We're all taking that extra layer of precaution in all our dealings in the world, right? All our interactions, anytime we're in public settings. I think we all have to do our due diligence of taking that extra step of precaution to protect ourselves, make sure first we're good, our family, our loved ones are good. There's been lots of stories and situations where people have, meant well and tried to help other people, and then only for it to turn in their own demise. So I'm not too outraged about that it took him a while to get some help. I do believe when the situation happened, I think police arrived on the scene a little bit after 10 p.m. So it was at night, which I do understand. So that situation doesn't really upset me. But it is a little bit upsetting that though Mr. Lester claims, I'm an old man, I heard noise at my door. Mind you, he shot through the door. This is before he even opened up. I'm not too sure if he had the cameras or what are the cases, or maybe saw what the situation was before. But it says here, evidence shows Lester opened fire on the teen through a glass door with a .32 caliber revolver. There's no indication that Lester or Ralph spoke to one another before the evening of the shooting. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. What's the solution, folks? Again, how do we protect our children? Is it too much to... Why wasn't sorry, I'm at the wrong address. Why wasn't that enough to suffice in this situation? Sorry, wrong door. I saw another story of a lady. I don't know where I saw this, but nowadays you can't even mistakenly drive into somebody's driveway without getting fired at. I saw a story of another lady who mistakenly drove into somebody's driveway and was met with gunshots. It's like, this is the world. This is society right now, bro. But I don't know. I want to say I get it, but I'm trying to say, yeah, I get it. And that's just me not being naive. But I want to say, but what's the solution, right? Yeah, the times are different. Yeah, the times are evil. Yeah, it's dark out here. Yeah, it's, I get it. Yeah, there's racism. Yeah, there's gun violence. I get it. But are we just all going to just throw our hands up and say like, hey, man, that's just how it is. Keep it going. Or are we going to try to come up with solutions? Aren't we all smart enough as a collective? Can't we all as a collective, if we all put our thinking caps on, right? If we all put our thinking caps on and try to come up with a solution, guys, hey, man, what do you think is the solution here? Or are we just all going to, hey, man, it is what it is, man. Don't get boggled down by those things, man. It is what it is. I don't know, man. It's unfortunate. Man. I want solutions. Like, I want ideas, ladies and gentlemen. We could. I believe in us. We can come up with ideas, man, to kind of mitigate these shootings of innocent people. Whether it's mental health. Of course, I spoke on that in another video. Whether we're chalking it up to mental health, there's solutions for that. There's care. Don't lie and say we don't got the resources, we don't got the funds. If we're chalking it up to mental health, hey, man, there's solutions for that. If we're chalking it up to, hey, man, gun control, I mean, he was at his home, so, Second Amendment, he had the right to have that firearm, whether he said breaking or entering, whatever the case is, he had that right. But there's solutions, man. We're just not asking the right questions to try to find the solutions. We're not thinking far enough out the box to try to combat some of the things that happen in the world, and I think that's where the problem lies.